Hello, everyone. So I'm going to do a little bit different thing today. I'm going to speak to you in English. My apologies for that, but I hope you can all understand me and you can see through my really weird Dutch accent. So thank you for bearing with me. So I'm going to talk today about location analytics in business. And I have worked as a business developer at Esri for a couple of years, and I've been working with business people and GIS for the last 15 years. So I'm going to share some of the experiences with you today. My agenda will be, I'll briefly talk about Esri, and I know my colleagues from ArcData have already spent some time on this. I just want to briefly talk about it. I'll talk about one of the most important trends that we're seeing that is helping GIS evolve, and I'll talk about some examples of how geography is actually used within the business market. So about Esri, most of you here probably know our company, but we have over 130 locations today and about 8,000 people worldwide. And some people call us the best kept secret because we're pretty big and we're pretty unfamiliar outside of the GIS market. It was founded in '69, and our owner, Jack Dangermond, he's still there today, and he's still our president. When we talk about commercial, we mean organizations that sell, that manufacture, that service things, and that also move things. So you see on this slide a number of our customers. These are big names, but of course we also work with smaller organizations. This is just to wow you. But we have currently over 30,000 organizations that work with GIS, and I think that's pretty amazing. So I know that you guys are experts in geography, but when I talk to my customers about geography, to business organizations, they have no clue what I'm talking about. So how I translate it is I talk about business. I talk about business data that organizations have. So they might have a CRM system, they might have a business intelligence system, they might use Salesforce, and all of that data today they can see in 2 dimensions. So what GIS is doing, it's bringing together all of these different data sets, even an Excel file, and it's bringing a 3rd dimension, which is the map. I'm not going to go into the technology today, but what Esri does and what ArcGIS, our platform, does is it provides a way to manage data, to provide insights and analytics, and ultimately to collaborate. And I think the 3rd is one of the most important changes. It's not just about analysts creating really pretty maps, but it's about actually sharing those maps throughout the organization. And this is another way of looking at it. So you see here different types of people in an organization. So imagine this is a real estate company or a bank. They have professional analysts and researchers that use heavy GIS solutions, but they also have people in the field that need easy to use apps. And they have executives, and executives typically want 2 things. They want to know whether things are red, which is bad, or whether they are green, and that's good. So mapping can help with this. Our offering consists of 3 major elements. Of course, there is software. You know, we have apps and applications, and Radek has showed you a few of those earlier today. But one of the most critical parts is actually content, because without content, we can't really do anything. And content can be customers, so it can be your consumers. It can be bank information, credit card details. It can be your locations. But it also is about demographic information, population, purchase power, and also ultimately maps. So the trend that I want to talk to you about today, and which we feel that is influencing the need for geography, is actually that there's a gigantic switch going on between the power from the retailers and banks, basically any consumer-facing business, to the customers themselves. And what do I mean with that? So we as a consumer are empowered. If today I go into a store and I want to understand, I like a product and I want to find out if I can find it anywhere cheaper, I don't go back home and go sit behind my laptop. I look on it on my iPhone and I make a decision if I want to buy it or not, or maybe wait and go to the competitor. So it's very, very transparent and the retailers don't have influence on that. Also, we are setting sky-high expectations for businesses. So 5 years ago, when I wanted to buy something through Amazon, I would be very happy if my book arrived 2 or 3 days later. Today, I'm only happy if it arrives the same day. So the expectations that we have from organizations are becoming much, much higher. And then finally, we're about collaborative consumption. So if I'm going into a store and I like a dress, you know, I sometimes have to buy new clothes, and I make a photo and I share it through social media, my friends have got something to say about it. They either hate it, or they like it, or they want to buy it themselves. But this is a new kind of concept of collaborative consumption, and retailers and banks do not have any influence over it. So this is creating the need for business systems that help make faster decisions, that help see patterns faster, because we want to keep our customers with us. So GIS, how it's used in businesses today, it's ultimately to understand assets, to understand customers, where they are, where are our prospects, where are our competitors. It's also about understanding where there's potential for new locations. So where is there potential for new ATM locations or bank locations or things like lockers where you can pick up goods that you've ordered. It's also about marketing. So how do I know my customer? Who is my customer? And where does he live? And do I know where other customers are that have the same profile? In which areas are they? It's about risk, and this is becoming more and more obvious. Think about an insurance company that has a number of assets that they've insured. They are interested to understand if those assets are at risk, if there's, for example, a high fire risk going on. And then finally, it's about using geography as part of your communication strategy. And I'd like to start with that one. So you see a couple of maps, and I can share all of this with you. These are all public-facing maps. We call them story maps. But I want to talk to you about the top right one. It's a story map about Starbucks. So Starbucks is one of our largest customers that is using geography to determine new locations for stores. And they have lots of stores. But they also use it as part of their communication strategy. So this map you see on the top right, it's showing the journey that a bean takes to get into a coffee cup. And so it starts at a farm in Africa, and ultimately it takes a journey. And so it's telling a story with maps and pictures, and you can zoom in and out and ask information. And so it's very, very intuitive, and they share this out with all of their customers. So I'd like to shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the areas that we work with our customers in. So this is not everything we do, but I had to make a decision because I only had 30 minutes. So I'll talk first about insurance and financial services, which is, I would say, one of the oldest markets for using geography in their work. So traditionally, a lot of insurance companies use geography to be solvent, which means that they need to spread their risks. They need to understand, for example, if they have a lot of mortgages, how to spread those mortgages, because they don't want all the houses in the same location, because it's a risk for them. So they're using this technology widely spread and already for a long time. A newer area that we're seeing the usage of technology is within the claims market. So an example that you see here, this map, it's a map where you have customers and customer locations, and it's overlaid with a storm, with storm data. And so what the insurance company is now able to do is they are able to see how a storm has impacted a customer. So if this customer makes a claim, they can actually see if the claim is valid or not. They also, these insurance companies also have mobile workers, people that they put out in the field, that are actually gathering information about claims. And this is the lady that you're seeing on the picture that has a mobile device and is using geography to capture information. Finally, insurance companies are very interested to understand how they can sell you more. So they want to sell you more insurance policies. And so it's all about understanding the performance, understanding where they can sell more, which is the map on the right side. One of our customers that is using this technology in their day-to-day work is a company called Willis Towers Watson. If you're from the insurance market, I'm sure you know them. They have about 40,000 employees worldwide and are present in over 140 countries. What they've done in this specific project is they've mapped out the possible impact that a terrorist attack could have. So they're looking at the things like what is the blast of an attack, and then also about things how are, for example, windows damaged, or what kind of injuries can we expect. So they use this information to work with insurance companies. In retail and banking, the more traditional usage of geography has been about understanding your real estate, understanding store potential, where can I open and close new stores. But it's also about marketing and merchandising, which is the second map that you see. And this is an example, a really interesting example of Starbucks. So you see the black dot is actually a Starbucks location. There's actually 3 dots on the map. And Starbucks was interested to start selling alcohol during the evening. So they wanted to understand which stores they should keep open longer. And what they've done is they've overlaid their store information, so the store locations, with information about the alcohol consumption on zip code level, on postcode level. So the map you see here has that consumption included. And the dark orange areas are the areas where the alcohol consumption is high. So in this way, they're able to determine which locations would be good for pilot projects. The next area is indoors and store operations, which is a very kind of hot area that we're seeing. All organizations want to understand how they can use indoor technology. And I must say, it's sometimes really hard because it's not only about mapping things, but it's also about how do you capture that information, because there's so many different technologies that can help with that. The map that you see here is a map of a shopping center mall. And you see here the lines in red are the areas where there's a lot of people walking. So what this shopping center mall has done with this information is that they've determined the lease price of the retailer that is located there. So the more red the area, the higher the lease price is that the retailer has to pay to be in that location. Last but not least, in retail especially, there is a shift in how they serve organizations. So they go out and actually bring goods to the customer. I'm sure it's happening here too. So what the retailer now also has to do, they have to become a delivery company. So they are using geography to optimize their routes, which is the example that you see on the right side, where you have different colors and numbers, and the colors represent a truck, and then the numbers represent the locations that they have to go to. One of my favorite stories is the story of X5. It's a Russian retailer. They have 9,000 stores today, 3 types of store formats. And this is one of the largest stores formats that they have. And X5 has a kind of a nice problem, but they have to open 1,500 new stores next year. And they have an expansion planning team that's responsible for that. Now what is interesting is that for each new store that they have to open, they have to visit hundreds of locations. So you can imagine, you're talking about thousands of visits a year to determine a new location. So they're using geography as part of their decision-making process. And actually these people that you see here are actually X5 employees. This is not fake. So the lady that is on the left side, who is the search specialist, she's going out into the field and she's using a mobile device to capture information about a location that she's interested in. And she's able to see demographic information about how many people live around this area, what kind of parking spaces are available, how big is the store. And she's able to capture that, she can make annotations, and she can send it back into the organization to this lady in the middle, that is the analyst. And this analyst will make further decisions on the locations that the search specialist has decided upon, and that information goes to the decision maker, and then this decision maker, he will say, we'll go for this location or not. What is great is they have all different apps. Because the guy on the right, he definitely doesn't want an ArcGIS Pro license. He wants a simple app. But what is more important is that they're all using the same data. So there's no different databases, it's one database, but everyone's using it in a different way. X5 is not only using it for expansion planning, they're doing lots more with it. Typically they have like projects that they run. A project that they ran was to understand the sales of whole chickens, so complete chickens with head and everything. And there's two pictures that you see here, and I'll explain it a little bit, but the one on the left, it shows the center of St. Petersburg, and then the one on the bottom shows a rural area, so there's not many people living there. And you can see the volume of chicken sales is high when it's red, and it's low when it's blue. So it's very predictable, because in St. Petersburg, no one has time to cut a whole chicken. So they're not doing that, but in the rural areas, they actually are. But it helps them to plan their assortment. On the right side, you see an example of distribution optimization. So X5 has a number of distribution centers, which are the green dots, and they're able to understand for each distribution center what the nearest retail location is. So they're able to optimize their distribution. And then finally, this is the last step in the process, they can actually optimize as well their routing. So consumer goods manufacturing, I'm going a little bit faster because I'm running out of time and I want to show you a video at the end. So, but this consumer goods manufacturing, it's another area that we see a lot of business in. This consumer goods organization was interested to understand market potential for deodorant. And they had a certain target group in mind, which was men between 15 and 25 years old that were living in a household of 2 people or more. And so what we've done is we've created this map, and the areas in purple are the areas where this target group is dominant. And so what this consumer goods organization then did is they mapped out all the supermarket locations, the grocery locations in this area. And the green dots are the locations that we already are selling to, and the red ones are the ones that we're not selling to. So what this map helps do, it helps determine which retail locations we actually need to have a conversation with, because they are in a high potential area, but they're not selling our products. Final area that I wanted to focus on is real estate. So typically, I would say our work in real estate is with organizations that invest or that broker real estate. So they are the companies like CBRE, Jones Lang LaSalle, probably names that you've heard of before. And what these organizations use technology for is basically to sell faster and quicker, because that market is really a quick market. So they use it, for example, to have conversations with their customers about where to have new locations. And they use maps, like on the left side, in 3D to talk about what the rent growth is in a certain area. They also use portfolio viewers, which is the map you see in the middle, to understand what kind of portfolio they currently have and how they can grow that. And then on the right, this is a map of Jones Lang LaSalle, and they are using it to communicate their reports. So rather than having a 50-page report that they give to their customer, they have an online app, and a story map actually, that is telling the story in a few maps, and it's very, very intuitive. So what I'd like to do now is, before we close off, is to show you a video of one of our customers, which is called the Shopping Center Group, which is giving consultancy to retailers in the US. So I do realize it's a very US-focused video, but I think it's nice to show what customers actually do with the technology.
The Shopping Center Group is the leading national retail-only real estate service provider in the United States. Our services include tenant representation, leasing, project management, and investment property sales.
As an organization, we've really focused on providing the best local market knowledge to our clients. We've created an information architecture that really is second to none.
Our clients are making multi-million-dollar decisions. We must provide them accurate information in order for them to make the best decisions.
Our customers are retail customers, and if they're off by an inch, they're off by a mile. You make a mistake, you're dead.
Accurate data is one piece of the puzzle, but accurate data alone doesn't really tell the story. How you analyze that data, what information comes from the data, and how you use it, that makes the difference.
We are expected to get information to our clients almost immediately, so that when the topic is fresh in their minds, then it's fresh for them to respond to me and get back to me before the opportunity changes or moves away from us.
Demographics are important, but the psychographic, really understanding who the customer is that's coming to a particular shopping center, is critical.
What we started to look at is more the personality of the demographics, and that is psychographics, and for us that's Tapestry. Tapestry gives us a personality. It allows us to really start to bring together who the consumer is and where they are. With that, one of the more recent data sources we've been integrating has been GPS or cellular data. So by understanding movement combined with the data and the demographics and the expenditure and the other information we get from Esri, we're able to paint a picture that I don't think anybody else is able to paint.
I especially love it when I have a correlation that I can draw to another market. You can look at the psychographics, you can understand why they're successful in one place. Then I can explain that this customer that you have in your Harwood store is the same customer as you're going to have in your Alpharetta store, and this is why.
One of the benefits of ArcGIS is because it's an enterprise-based system, we're able to provide a product that is the same across geographies. So the product that we're creating and presenting to them is the same in New York as it is in Miami.
It's extremely important that our brokers be able to access authoritative content from the web, anywhere, anytime, any place. We're actually seeing a huge shift to brokers wanting to do more themselves. They want to understand the numbers, the demographics, the psychographics, and when they interact with GIS and they start working towards that solution, they understand it better.
We've been on the Esri platform now for about 3 years, and I think that our revenue growth has been, over that 3-year period, about 30%.
Every single part of our company touches ArcGIS, from the producer level to the service providing level. ArcGIS is the backbone of what we do for a living.
When people look at the Shopping Center Group, they see that we're using the leader in the industry from a GIS standpoint.
We look at the ArcGIS platform as the one that we think will take our company to the next level in providing the type of information and the type of product that our clients are not able to see from our competitive group.
We had one client that said, I'm not sure what's going on over at the Shopping Center Group, but whatever it is, keep it up. These maps are incredible.
Thank you for listening to me.